Since Scream 6 has continued to grow financially, there's been a lot of discussion regarding the other entries in the franchise, with most receiving praise. One of the main areas of Scream that is still considered a failure and a disappointment is in fact MTV's Scream TV series. However, there's one thing people get wrong about this show. I have always been somewhat of a fan of the show, but this isn't something that is discussed enough. But it's quite clear to me personally that the revival of the franchise over at Paramount is down to MTV Scream, and I'll explain why. So first, a little history lesson. Following the release of Scream 4, the franchise hit a brick wall. Production for the fifth movie didn't really seem to get off the ground. When asked about it, the Weinstein brothers were open about the stages of development, in saying that the fifth movie wasn't really taking off, with one quote being that they hoped the fifth movie would wrap up this particular Scream story. So with this in mind, gradually it became news that Dimension Films were joining up with MTV to start a Scream revival of their own, in the form of a TV series. Even during production for the show, the Weinsteins were asked again about Scream 5, with them saying the new series was the best place for the franchise to go. When Spyglass managed to acquire the rights to Scream, there was a lot of discussion regarding where the franchise would be heading, particularly in whether this would be a remake of the original, or whether it would follow Halloween 2018's footsteps by being rebooted in universe. A while back, I managed to have a very brief chat with the writer of Season 1 of MTV Scream, Jamie Paglia, and he said the initial plan with the show was to modernise the original story so that it could appeal to modern audiences. Despite speculation that the show and the movies could exist within the same universe, the TV series was essentially a remake of the franchise. This may be obvious to some, but it's often overlooked. The patterned remake behaviour is there. Many characters in the show were homages or variations of characters from the original movie, so Emma being the new Sydney, Brooke being the new Tatum, Noah being the new Randy, Kieran being the new Billy, and so on. When I did my assessment of Scream 4, I touched upon how Wes Craven ultimately took a risk with the movie in keeping it set within the universe of the original trilogy. As at the time, remakes were huge and very much dominated the slasher genre. Despite this risk, Scream 4 didn't perform as well as the Weinsteins wanted, according to Kevin Williamson, so the next best choice for them was to join the fold and create a remake of sorts. So MTV Scream should technically be viewed as a modernised remake of the original story. So what does this have to do with Paramount? Well, the TV series was short-lived due to the failing ratings. It was ultimately cancelled after just 3 seasons. When Spyglass and Paramount acquired the rights to the movies, they had the decision to either remake the films from scratch or set them within the same universe. Initially, when they acquired the rights, they said very little about their intentions, which in my opinion indicates they absolutely were in active discussion to either reboot or remake the movies. I believe the lack of success the show had ultimately resulted in Paramount deciding to continue the in-universe story, rather than straight up remaking it for modern audiences. Do I think the movies will eventually be remade? Absolutely. But what do you guys think? Would you have liked to have seen a remake of the movies, or were you happy with them continuing the story in universe? Share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and look out for more great Scream videos on the way.